But the time that the entity was referring to mostly was about 4 weeks ago. And I'm walking into my job, and I am feeling frustrated, but it's only because I know that I'm going through all this stuff and figuring out all this stuff, and I didn't have anybody to help me. But I knew very well that I would be helping other people when they needed it. And he would be one of the people I would help when the time was needed. And I had a big conversation with my mom, and there was a lot of healing that happened there. This is what sparked my whole feeling of, just sadness or self-pity. But once again, it was about him and my mom. They were doing the same thing. So I'm walking in, and there's 3 cars in the aisle that I'm walking up toward the store. That's where I worked. It was a store. And in the first car that's off to my right, I see 2 people in love with each other, and they're embracing and they're sad. It's almost like they're saying goodbye. Then in the next car that's on my left, all of a sudden the car comes to life as a dog. It just comes running to the window and just starts barking at me. And the woman inside is yelling at the dog in very vulgar language to shut up and get away from the window. And, several expletives were thrown in there too. Finally, I reached toward the front of the store, and there's the loading area in front of the store, and there's a car parked right there. It's totally silent. I don't even see a driver sitting there. And all of a sudden, this car comes to life. And a boy and a girl start shouting at each other. And one of them was laughing. And then the other one said, "Hey, give that back, it's mine." And at this point, I'm just, chuckling to myself. And I'm just like, wow, universe, thank you. I have no idea what that meant, but yeah, I can't deny that you just gave me some sort of message. But then I realized that this message came from Samba. So I was like, thank you, Samba. But what does it mean? And the only thing I heard from him was that Cheryl would know. I thought this was talking about my coworker that I was going in to go see. And I was going to see her about a newsletter that I was starting. And her name is Cheryl. Well, that day, this Cheryl gal ends up sending me a friend request on Facebook. And then I immediately feel my twin's energy all over this. There are so many little things about it which I just identified with him. And the biggest thing was her choice of flower for a profile picture was this little yellow flower. I guess it's called a buttercup. I always thought a buttercup, was something different, but, over where I was, buttercup, it looks almost like a little daisy flower. And I didn't think much about this flower when I was there, other than I started using it to dye wood. I started smashing the petals to make a yellow stain on some wood that I started carving. And I played around with several things, but I really liked the dye that one gave off. But I never really thought about the flower until this moment. And so I sent her a message and said, this flower carries a lot of significance for me, because at this time I'm thinking my twin, who was unable to talk to me because his fiance became really jealous despite my attempts to say that I was jealous and I was backing away, she basically started isolating him in every single way. And I was a big threat. So I thought he found a way to actually communicate with me, and I was happy. I really thought that the reason he stopped communicating with me was because of her, and that he actually did still like me, because I couldn't understand how we went from friendship, to suddenly I felt like he hated me. I really couldn't understand it. And so the only thing I could think of is that it was her fault. Even though I tried to back away, I tried to be the bigger person and try to be supportive of them, it didn't matter what I did. The more I spoke, the more jealous she became and the more possessive she became. Well, a few days later is when he asked me to save her. And, or no, that was before. But by this point, when Cheryl had befriended me, the relationship between him and I had gotten, I don't even know, he hated me. As best I could tell, he hated me. And so I thought that this flower was actually, he didn't hate me. He just didn't know how to talk to me. And he was reaching out to me. And I said as such, and he finally actually talked to me. It was a short conversation. And he tried telling me, I don't love you, I never loved you. I told you this before you left. And I'm engaged now and you need to leave me alone. Totally invalidating any feelings I had. Like it wasn't right for me to feel sad or mourn or anything like that. It was just like it honestly didn't even feel like him. But this was just my confusion. I'm just like, I didn't know what was going on. Well now, so this Cheryl gal yesterday is saying that in this particular conversation, because I had this vision and I shared it with him, and that ended the conversation between us. Well, actually he ended it, but the last thing I said was, you know, I'm sorry, Cheryl, I assumed that you were my twin. I'm just going to call him Jeannie. I assumed that you were Jeannie. And I had this vision yesterday, and it said Cheryl would know, and then you popped up, and I thought maybe you were the Cheryl it was talking about. So apparently she's saying that I asked her for help at this point to destroy him. Even before, when I'm talking to Jeannie's fiance, when I wanted her help to, I guess you could say destroy him, but I wanted her to help him to see what he keeps doing to other people. And how destructive he is being. I really thought I was doing this to be helpful to humanity, to try to stop someone that was the equivalent of a sociopathic murderer. I didn't think I had enlisted the help of any benevolent entity, trickster entity, that I now realize has probably actually been attached to my blood lineage for quite some time. 300 years at least. Where did this come from? I didn't even realize this was attached to my blood lineage until I started making these videos. And this is why I need to make these videos, because it's allowing me to get things out. That I have been pondering this for over a day. Since yesterday, late last night. Just trying to figure out who is this entity that seems to know me so well and says that I planned everything, enlisted help to destroy him, because he looks at it as I destroyed him. I was the bad one because I reached out to him to just get closure, to just ask for friendship, and suddenly his fiance dumps him, and now this is all my fault because, she can't contain her jealousy, and he doesn't want to admit that he doesn't really like her either. And he doesn't want to admit that he likes me, and maybe that sounds arrogant. But I finally realized in this conversation that I cause him to want to grow up, to be better, to be higher, to achieve things in life. She allows him to stay comfortable with where he's at. And I think I've had enough positive effect on him that he wants to be bigger, better, and actually do something in life. That he wants to just have ambition. Because honestly, when I saw him, he was dead. I thought I was dead. I'd never seen somebody that a Walking Dead like this, and now I'm starting to see this all over in people. When I say people are walking around brokenhearted, in essence, they're walking around dead. Emotionally dead. They spew vitriol back and forth at each other all the time. They say that they love each other, but they don't. It's very destructive, negative love. I mean, yeah, I guess it is still love, but it's not the love that they say it is. It's nothing. There's nothing positive, life-affirming, and building about it. Yes, everything, because we live in a magnetic grid, everything requires the polarity of positive and negative. Love, or the all, is all. It could be any of many manifestations. All is good. I mean, it is. It's not anything necessary to fight against or something. So, there goes my thoughts again. I'm gonna leave for a while. I need to trace this now that I have this understanding of this entity traveling through me, my bloodline. So it's been a generational curse. I need to think about that, and I'll see if I have to create more videos on that. Bye for now. I love you all.